Welcome to episode 36 of the Yinzhers podcast. I'm Samantha James, here with my co-host Jordan DeFigio. Morgan couldn't make it. We're sad. We miss you.
Yeah, we are. Work is lame.
You know what? Hopefully, if we get enough listeners, we'll be able to quit our jobs and just do Yinzhers full time. Just saying.
That would be awesome. That's
Then
the
Morgan,
dream. And then work wouldn't be lame.
Literally. Then it wouldn't be lame. We'd have the
Our
best
day
coworkers.
jobs are meh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but we do miss her. I wish she could be here.
We're going to jump right into crazy weekend of football.
Crazy. And only 2 games, too, so they really packed it in to those 120 minutes that we had. Well, more than that because of overtime, but
which
the idea.
Back to the overtime rules, how they change in the postseason. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's weird that a rule that exists in the regular season isn't good enough for the postseason. And maybe that's me just projecting my own interpretation of that on the fact that the rule changes, but I guess it's sort of similar to like in hockey during the regular season. If a game goes into overtime, it's 3-on-3, and then they go to a shootout after that first 5-minute period. And then in the playoffs, they just go full 5-on-5 until forever until somebody scores. But the NFL doesn't really tweak the play action that's going on. They tweak the rules, literally just the rules of what is cool and what wins the game. So it's just interesting. I think that either change it all or don't change anything.
Again, because whoever wins the coin toss, you're like, that's the team that's going to win, which is what Skip Bayless tweeted, was like, oh, the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl because they won the coin toss. And it's like, had that pick not happened, honestly, that probably would have been the case. And it's like, it's really not fair to the other team to not even get a chance to score.
Yeah.
So,
and then the fact that as soon as Cincy did get the ball, all they had to do was score a field goal and then it was over. It's like, it's really hard to keep track of, even for people who've been following the game for a really long time. It's just weird. It's weird. And honestly, I saw at least one person make this point on Twitter, but like last week, everybody was kind of bitching about the overtime rules because the Bills should have had an opportunity to get the ball. But their defense was kind of porous. Like they were just letting everything through. And Cincinnati's defense came up big. So it's like, all right, there you go. So it's not all the overtime rule, but it is still just really stupid. I don't understand why. I don't understand why that's a thing.
In both games, it essentially came down to picks being almost the game changers in it. So it's just, I don't know, but I'm super excited for the Super Bowl. I think this is going to be a great matchup to watch. Who do you have?
Oh gosh. I think just based on level of experience alone, I think it's going to be the Rams. Like the Bengals are a really good team, and the more exposure they have to the postseason and games of such consequence, like they're in the Super Bowl. And oh my God, like what? Their first season going to the playoffs with this team, they're in the Super Bowl. Like that's unreal what they've been able to accomplish. But I do think, at least what my gut is telling me, like, not that none of the Rams have been to the Super Bowl before, but they're all kind of veteran players. Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, OBJ. Like they have a core of veterans who have been in the league for a while. And I think that may give them the leg up, just with the composure that they're going to need to come away with a win. And not that home field advantage meant anything to them yesterday on Sunday, because, oh my God, it was basically like the game was in San Francisco. What the hell? But
so crazy.
I think they're going to pull it out. We'll see. What do you think?
I think so too. I want the Rams to win, obviously, over the Bengals, which we know this is a point of contention on Steelers Twitter.
Gosh.
Still, like, every time I log into the Yinzhers account, I'm like, oh, fighting. We're still fighting. We're still fighting over who fans should root for. Again, I'm a huge fan of Joe Burrow. How could you not be? The kid had his freaking knee blown out last year. Doesn't mean that I want the Bengals to win. I also think that, like, I saw Didi tweet out, that there's a level of confidence that he exudes that just like sinks into his teammates. And like, you can actually like feel that through the videos you watch of him. Like, he's just so confident. And for being a rookie NFL quarterback, and I'm still going to call him that. Because again, last season, like, I don't even know what game he got injured in, but
it was pretty early on.
It was early on
that was
in the
disappointing.
Season. Yeah. And it's like, so for him to come back and make it to the Super Bowl following an injury like that, it's but
it's
again,
impressive.
It's so impressive. Because there's no way. You have to live in your head somewhat, like thinking about an injury like that. And I know it had to be a hard recovery, but I do think that the Rams are going to pull it out, but I do think it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah, and I'm hoping for that. Like,
right.
A higher scoring close game. Like, I feel like the last really fun Super Bowl that we got to see was Philadelphia and New England. Like, that game was bananas. It was so fun. And then the next year we had to sit through New England and Jared Goff's Los Angeles Rams, and that was just a snooze. But I think that I'm hoping that it has all of the makings of a really exciting game, because when your team's not in it, obviously that's what you want to watch.
Right.
And I would prefer for the Bengals not to win. I really would. However, I'm not going to lose sleep if they end up winning. Life will go on.
Yeah. The Steelers aren't in the Super Bowl, people. I don't know. People still just aren't. It's so funny how sports Twitter is divided on that.
People get really worked up, and it's understandable because so much of people's identity is wrapped up in Steelers football because it is such an emotional thing. And when you get to that point of connection, even with a sports organization, it really does feel like that those are my people and I need to defend them.
Yeah.
But also, I really don't think these guys who are getting paid to play football are going to lose sleep over who wins this game either. Because it's, at the end of the day, like we keep saying, it's not them. They're not the ones winning or playing for it. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I am most excited for the crying Bengals lady. Like, she has been
through it.
Yeah, she's been through it, and it was totally inadvertent. And geez, I just like initially felt so bad for her that camera dude caught her in what ended up for a second becoming like her lowest moment ever, because she became a meme. But she's been such a good sport about it, and she's been disappointed by the Bengals a lot. So it's fun to kind of watch her ride this wave. And now there's a GoFundMe out there for her to get her to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I really hope she gets it.
I hope so too. I mean, there's got to be enough crazy people. I wouldn't even say crazy, because I feel like we would donate to something like that. Yeah, like
invested.
Enough sports fans that would be like, yeah, that's cool. Go. I mean, Big Ed did that. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, the Steelers fan. Like, essentially, they traveled across the country for the Steelers Kansas City game. I mean, it was funded. He made the news for it. Like, so it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's switch it up a little. This is a topic of, I know I don't even want to talk about it, but Art Rooney II confirming that Matt Canada is going to be back as our offensive coordinator next season.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like like we suffered enough. We saw enough. I don't like it's one thing to have some setbacks because your system works better with a mobile quarterback.
Right.
And your current quarterback is pushing 40. But I feel like we far exceeded just a few setbacks with Matt Canada. It was like every single game, he just looked completely underprepared.
Yeah.
And it okay, yeah, you need somebody who's able to kind of move around in the pocket, and that's definitely not Ben.
Right.
But why are you trying to, and I feel like I've said this a million times, but it was like he was trying to force a square peg into a round hole and then back up through it again.
Right.
Just because he was like, well, this is my system. So, like, that's not how the NFL works, dude. Like, you need to be adaptable. And I just don't see them investing in bringing in a veteran that would require them to give up draft picks and a high amount of cap space. And I also don't see them using a high, like getting the draft pick they would need to get the right quarterback in this year's class. Like, so it just feels like, oh God, we have to watch that again. And maybe Dwayne Haskins will be better. Who the heck knows? But I don't know. I feel like it's going to be more of the same. And he's still not, if it really was on Ben because he wasn't mobile, then Matt Canada is still not going to be able to prove himself. So,
and that's the thing though. Okay, let's say Mason Rudolph starts, because I'm assuming in the lineup that we have now, Mason is still ahead of Haskins, which whatever. But are we calling Mason Rudolph mobile?
Because that's very generous.
Like, we've seen, I would say, pretty good sample sizes of what Mason Rudolph has, and mobile is not a word that I would use to define Mason Rudolph. And zero freaking pocket awareness. Zero.
Lead feet. Oh my God.
Literally just put a concrete brick on both of his feet. Like, it's
it would probably be better.
Right. And so that's what it's just like, regardless of what quarterback we put in there, unless it is someone that's mobile by that definition, you should be building that offense around that. And that's not what Matt Canada does. He, like you said, square peg, round hole. Like, he just tries to make it fit. And you're like, this isn't working.
It's hard to tell because they're so tight-lipped about everything, but it's either that Matt Canada doesn't realize that it's not working, or he's just unwilling to admit that it's not working. And I feel like that might be, I don't know, it's just all speculation. But whenever somebody is so like,
I don't even think it's speculation. Like, I'm going to say source because I'm going to name who it is, but someone on the an offensive player, straight up told me, I hate Matt Canada's play calling. I'm like, you and me both.
Yeah.
You and every other Steelers fan. It's like, if the players are frustrated by this and they're voicing their opinions too, I'm assuming those around them, their friends and their family and whoever, I mean, you can visibly see it on the field. Like, they're like, why are we doing a jet sweep again? Like, what the hell? Like, what is this? Like, I don't know. It's just so frustrating. It's so freaking frustrating. And so it's hard to be excited and optimistic. We need Morgan's voice of optimism here.
It's like, speak into the situation because it's really bleak with just the two of us.
It's going to be like, okay, I'm really just going to be drinking a lot of alcohol next season. Because,
and like, if you look at the wide receiver room, we don't know we don't know if Juju's going to be back. We don't know if any of those receivers are going to get their shit together in time to be effective. Like, we have pretty much seen that Matt Canada I hate that I keep saying his full name, but he feels like a villain in my mind,
like
that
he
needs
say
to be
Lord Voldemort. It's like
exactly. It's very similar to that. Yeah, just because it's incomplete without it. But like, he has an aversion to using tight ends and fullbacks. So it felt like the only time that Pat Freiermuth or Zach Gentry were getting the ball was when Ben was taking charge, and now Ben is gone. So,
which is crazy
also,
because
did
Freiermuth
Ben
and Gentry
yeah, go
was
ahead.
so much better than Freiermuth and Ebron, which
Yeah.
I don't know again why we didn't do that sooner. But
no idea.
What were you gonna
No
say, Jay?
idea. I was not sure. Did we record before or after Ben's retirement announcement? Because I think we recorded before.
Oh, you're right. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time is just so not a thing in my brain anymore. But yeah, that officially happened too. And then Tom Brady is maybe, who the hell knows, retiring or not. He'll let us know at some point this offseason.
Honestly, like, I was talking to one of my friends about this. It's like he has to do like a farewell season, right? Like, I would be so pissed as a fan if Ben like didn't kind of lead up to it and you didn't have that opportunity to like give him the send off, which it is going to be a little bit different for Brady because like Ben played 18 seasons for the Steelers and Brady spent the last 2 with Tampa Bay now. But it's like, it's, you still have to, I think he should still give the fans that opportunity to say goodbye.
And he seems like the kind of guy who would want that opportunity.
Right.
I was talking with a few people over the weekend. I think it was the day that good old Shefty broke the news before it was actually even a thing. He does that so much and it pisses me off, but that's its own thing. But like when you're an athlete, when you're in the public eye, and there's nothing wrong with this, you tend to like attention. Like people always sort of made that a big deal with Ben, like he just loves attention. Okay, so what if he does? He's the freaking franchise quarterback of one of the most successful football teams of all time. Like I think we can all agree that to some extent we love attention. And I think that especially Tom Brady, because of the prolific career that he's had, really loves attention. And it just felt like a very abrupt ending to his career when he wasn't really hinting at it and also is completely and entirely healthy. Like Ben was very visibly on the decline over the course of this last season, even though we knew it was probably his last season. And that was like, oh yeah, it's time. It's time to call it. But it felt like all regular season with Tom Brady, it was like, he's still got it. Like he can still do it.
Right. And he's older, but his ability and his skill on the field still is like, he still has it. So obviously the Bucs got this far in the postseason, like they could do it again. And so I don't know. I'm sure that he was frustrated after the loss and was just, you know, I don't know, maybe this is it, and voiced that to some friends and family, and someone leaked it. And then it's almost like out of spite. It's like, do I want to retire now because Shefty broke it and like,
oh my God,
I didn't get to announce it? Like I would be so annoyed.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what that would be like. Like back when he broke the news. It was Adam Schefter. I think it wasn't Ian Rappaport breaking the news of Andrew Luck's retirement before the game was even over. It was like, yo, I understand that you want to be the first to have this news out there in the world, but like read the room a little bit. Like jumping the gun a bit much. And now it's coming back to bite him because it's now he looks like an idiot because it's like, who did you hear that from? And why did you say that? And I honestly, for no other reason, I hope that Tom comes back so that Adam isn't right.
Right. Almost just like out of spite, just like, you know what? That wasn't your news to break. Like I hadn't even officially decided and whatever, but that started a whole nother controversy too. Steelers fans lost their freaking mind over that.
God. As if like, you know that Tom Brady's retirement is going to be the biggest thing that has ever happened to this sport. Like it is what it is, but that doesn't take like it's difficult in a setting where success is typically measured by wins, specifically Super Bowl wins, and Tom Brady has more of those than anybody. But him and what he did does not make Ben not successful
Right.
and not worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, because they're two totally different styles
Right.
of quarterback. And in my opinion, Ben was way more fun to watch. And
He was,
part of
yeah.
that is probably me just speaking as a Steelers fan, but part of it is also like Ben was just a way more unique quarterback.
Mhm. He
Brady
was.
fit really well in New England and in Tampa because the teams were built around him, and Ben was like,
Mhm.
F it, I'm going to have to do what I have to do.
Right.
And he was just very innovative and fun, and he's getting into the Hall of Fame. And
Right.
it is annoying when you're like, okay, Ben announced it yesterday? Like, feels like
Right.
he didn't even have a second to live it up. But at the same time, like, he probably also isn't that bothered by it either, because
Right.
he's still enjoying posts from the Steelers social media team about
Yeah.
him and
Like,
people
it's
talking.
yeah.
Yeah, like
it's not that deep. Like, it's not that
yeah.
deep. Like, I'm sure it is to them. But people still have to look at it. Like, Tom Brady's freaking old. Like, if he does decide to retire in the same year that Ben does, well, then he does. Like, how could you blame him?
Yeah, because he's
I
been playing
mean,
for forever.
right. Literally defeating all odds that he's still playing at the caliber that he is. Same thing that Ben did. But I think that Steelers fans are looking at it wrong. If he does decide to retire,
Yeah.
like, it's because he's decided it's time to retire. It's not because he
Yeah.
wants to overshadow Ben. Like,
He doesn't care. He knows
right.
like
It's not a competition who's gonna have the better freaking Hall of Fame ceremony. Ben, like,
yep.
freaking
It is, and this is what happens when the Steelers get kicked out of the playoffs as early as they have for the past few years. Like, we all get a little bit bored, like,
yeah.
and we want to talk about stuff, and when so little is happening with the team outside of Matt Canada coming back and
Right.
Ben retiring, it's like, what can we talk about? What can we fight about? Because like, my goodness, tensions are always so high in the regular season because look at what we deal with week in and week out. It's just
Right.
like we're constantly at an 11 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it just is really difficult to come back down
Right.
and settle and take a deep breath. So it's not surprising that people are getting fired up about it, but at the same time, it's like, it's really not. Again, like,
who was it?
don't lose sleep over it.
Joe Frick had tweeted, and he was like, "Is this what Steelers Twitter is like during the offseason? Like, I'm out." And I was like, "Are you new here?"
Yeah, what? I thought Joe's been around for a while.
I was like, every offseason is the absolute worst time because that's all there is to do is speculate and fight and start arguments over something. That's it.
Yep.
So yes, Joe, every offseason's like this.
Yep. Soon people will be fighting over mock drafts. So just get ready.
We don't do those on Yinzhers, so just don't even ask.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's no point. We draft who we draft. We speculated a little bit last year, and
right.
I don't think any single one of us were right. Like,
I didn't think we would take a punter.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah, I didn't think.
Go figure. I don't know. If you want mock draft content,
watch around the 412.
Yeah, they do a lot of that, and they're really good at it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, all right. Let's wrap this thing up. It's been real as always. Thank you to Steelers Nation for joining us.
Be sure that you're following us on Twitter at Yinzhers and Instagram at Yinzhers Official.
And don't forget to subscribe, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, so we can kick it every week. We'll see you on next Tuesday for another episode of Yinzhers.